Well, hello again, and welcome to another edition of the Speed Bag. Today, a segment I like to call, is the UFC really going to give CM Punk another chance to do whatever it is he is capable of doing? As you may have seen, former professional wrestler turned novice MMA fighter Phil CM Punk Brooks was on hand for the NHL's All-Star festivities this past weekend, and while there, he told Fox Sports that he is working feverishly to get another fight. According to Punk, he is going to fight again somewhere, whether it's for the UFC or someone else. This puts the UFC in an interesting position because now a choice has to be made. Punk's debut against Mickey Gall last year went about as badly as it could have gone, to the point where it kind of reflected poorly on the UFC's decision to put him there in the first place. And you tell us that you're the highest echelon of the sport, you're where the best fight the best, and this is what separates you from other promotions, and then you take a guy with zero combat sports experience and you let him get mauled on pay-per-view. Doesn't exactly bolster your argument there. But it did succeed in generating some interest. It moved that pesky needle we're always hearing about. We might have talked about how ridiculous it was both before and after the fight, but the point is we talked. If you throw him in there again, now some of the mystique surrounding his skills or lack thereof is evaporated, but admit it, you'd still watch. You'd be curious to see if he'd gotten any better. I'd watch. I kind of hate myself for admitting that, but I would. In fact, a second fight is what makes this seem like a weird experiment we're doing, to see if somebody can just go from nothing and learn some MMA skills and become some semblance of a fighter and not just, a one-off cash grab. But it's not without risk for the UFC, because if you put Punk in there against another hand-picked opponent and he gets absolutely smashed yet again, it's going to seem kind of absurd. At some point people are going to get mad at you. They're going to think that you are subjecting them to this over and over again and making a mockery of your own sport, and at some point they would be right. Then again, if you get too good at handpicking an opponent, you go out there and you manage to find someone even worse at MMA than CM Punk is, then it looks even worse. Then it looks like the new owners are so desperate for cash, they're willing to manipulate the integrity of the fights. The final complicating factor, however, is Punk's insistence that he is going to fight for someone one way or another. And the UFC won't give him one, and Bellator would. And if for some bizarre reason Bellator would not give him a fight, Ryzen would. Ryzen would jump at the chance to put CM Punk against like a Japanese politician or game show host, and you know what? It wouldn't even be the least legit fight on the card. So then the UFC's question becomes, do you want this guy to make money for you while also possibly embarrassing you? Or do you want him to go make money for someone else who will probably be a lot less embarrassed no matter what happens? Whatever the UFC decides and whatever we think about it, there is one thing that we all have to agree on, and that's Punk's insistence on fighting again somewhere kind of forces us to respect the guy. He went out there and got beaten down by Mickey Gall. Did not pull off a single successful offensive move. And he was also thoroughly mocked by everyone, including his old pro wrestler buddies. And now he wants to do it again? Knowing that the gleeful disdain will only multiply each time he loses? That's a guy who really wants to fight, man. And somebody's gonna let him.